We keep saying, don't predict, respond, or react. It seems even more evident now because everybody's trying to predict the response of what is going to happen to the market if the election results are X or Y. If the market falls, should I be taking out my money right now? Should I take a lot of my money out right now? All these questions come to mind, and I keep thinking the answer is that I don't know, and therefore I will actually choose to react or respond instead, rather than trying to predict what the market will do, what the elections will do, or whatever. And there's a bigger lesson in this in what we do in real life. We don't keep walking around the road saying, a coconut could fall on our head, therefore we should be wearing a helmet whenever we walk. We should not cross the road because too many people die crossing the road. We take our calculated risks and we say, the chances of something like this happening are relatively remote, and therefore we are not going to do all of these things in advance. If a coconut does fall, I believe there will be an opportunity to understand and move away or move out of the way, and so on. There is this concept of responding or building a better response architecture rather than trying to predict everything that can happen. If you have an accident on the highway, there is no way you can predict the number of ways that you can have that accident. It may be a small graze, it may be a single flat tire, it may be 2 flat tires. Your response is going to be entirely different in each of these cases. In one case, you'll move on. In another case, you will fix a single flat tire. And if you have 2 flats or a broken engine, you're going to call for an emergency service to tow your car and get your family to where they need to be in safety. It's a strange conversation I've had once, and perhaps I will have over many times with people. A friend told me that he wants to buy gold, and I said, why? And he said, Deepak, the Third World War is going to happen. Therefore, all the currencies in the world are going to be worthless, and therefore we should be buying gold. The Indian rupee will not be useful for transactions. People will only respect gold. And I said, why do you say that? It's happened. It's happened in Argentina. It's happened in Zimbabwe, where those currencies are not valuable anymore, and people don't care about them. So gold is the only thing that works. Well, I said, that's fine. But if I give you the example of Ukraine or Gaza, you don't even have any safety if you have gold, because somebody will come along with some guns and then they'll force you to give your gold to them. The answer to that for him was, I can't plan for that situation. That's a little too extreme. Well, I'm like, so you want a third world war, but people shouldn't be using guns. They just come at you with swear words. That's why you'll prefer to have gold. You can never prepare enough for anything that is extreme and extreme and extreme. And therefore, it may be not even useful to plan in advance what extreme things can happen. What are you going to do in a market that even if you know if it's going to fall, you think that it's going to fall very seriously, are you going to take your money out right now and sit? There are 2 things that can happen. First, the market may not fall, and then the market keeps going up. And then you feel miserable because what you sold at 100, now you have to either buy back at 110 to participate because it could go to 150. And you feel miserable losing that 10 rupees in the first place. Most people just won't do it. They will just say, I'm going to wait till it comes back to 100. Or market does go down from 100 to an 80. And you say, it's so bad, it's going to go down to 50. But guess what? At 80, it switches around, comes back, goes back all the way to 110. And again, you're left with the same problem of, should I now buy at a 10 rupee higher level than I sold at? Markets have a strange way to react to a lot of situations. We've seen it happen in Brexit. Markets fell 6% on that day and recovered very quickly in the next few days. In demonetization, it was down for a couple of weeks and then we were back up again. In the situations around Ukraine, we thought the whole world will see the markets falling a lot, and the world did. India didn't. We didn't see a meaningful fall in the Indian markets at all. The Israel-Gaza war is almost for markets like it didn't happen at all. In fact, you can't predict the reaction to markets, even though you may predict an event correctly. And this is even more evident in the Indian elections in 2004. And this is an example I can leave you with, saying, what do you mean don't predict and respond instead? There was a government change in 2004. And when the new government came in, the communist parties had come into the winning coalition. Any person who looked at markets at that time would have thought that it's the end of the market. And yes, it was the end for the next 2 months, and the markets fell 24% in a couple of days. But within 3 months, it had recovered back to the pre-election levels. And the next 3 years, with the communist parties in power, we saw the market go up more than 200%. That means it went up 3x in roughly 2.5 or 3.5 years. And that is a phase that the market has not seen 15 years before that and has not seen 15 years after that either. You would have missed this. Even if you had predicted the election results appropriately, you would have predicted that the left parties being in power is not great for stock markets, and yet you would have seen this happening right in front of you. I tell you this again, don't predict, respond.